Hello, people. How are you? I hope you're well. I can't hear your reply, so I'll just have to hope that you are well. And I hope you've been having success with imagining what you want in your life. And anytime you do have success, as in you remember that you imagine something that's happened in your life, something positive, I recommend you write it down, even though I haven't done that yet. But I think it would really help your faith in moments of doubt, when you feel you've been imagining for something for so long and it's still not happened, just to remind yourself, oh, it does happen, because it happened with this and it happened with that. Just got to keep going, because you just don't know when it's going to happen. That's the bottom line. But I hope you've had some success, and it's been a while, but I'm very glad to record a clip now. And I don't know what I'm going to say, as usual. And on top of that, it's something I do believe I've read before. But I haven't checked, and I will check afterwards if I can be bothered. But I'm sure I'm going to say different things this time, because if I did it, it was a while ago. So, well, let's just hope I say something different and useful. I don't know. And it's going to be about assumption, which is, well, one of the key teachings, if not the key teaching of Neville Goddard in manifesting. Because if we're to manifest, we have to assume we already have that thing. And it's good to get down into the nitty-gritty of it so that we understand it more. The more we study it, the more we think about it and hopefully get it right. And then we gain control over this great power that lives within each one of us, and we can live a happier life. That's good essence that just came out, I think. I agree with what I just said. Before we start, something really important. I know my hair looks a mess today, but look how much has grown out. So I'm becoming more of a natural woman. And I actually really like that, even though it looks a mess today. So mainly natural, some greys, which is fine. Some silvers, I prefer to call them. But look at this side. This is a bit Cruella de Vil, isn't it? This is bleach. So I'm growing that out. But this is not. So I quite like having a few silver streaks to show my eccentricity and natural woman status in society. Not one person has encouraged me with this, but I don't say anything to anyone. I think, no, one person at work sort of suggested that I look good as a blonde. Well, yeah, it is kind of blonde hair. It's ash blonde, but she meant bleach blonde, as in, why don't you get your roots done? But I'm not going to do it anymore because I like me as me. And that's okay if you want to dye your hair. It's fine. Each to their own. But I like this. And so much easier. So much easier to not give a shit, isn't it? Right, sorry about that. What a digression I have just committed. So I'm going to go back to my tatty book, which I love so much, even though it's a bit tatty. Oh, that's really bad. And I am reading from The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, Chapter 3, Power of Assumption. So I'm going to read bits and comment on them as things come to me as usual. I love the first sentence. It's really, really very good. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. I think that's brilliant. I could just end right there on that. we need to know what our chief delusion is. I want to know what all my delusions are, thank you very much, because I want the truth. I don't want to bullshit myself. I don't want to bullshit people either, but it starts with knowing who you are, knowing your own mind. And so, yeah, I want to know all my delusions, thank you very much, and then just cut through them all and see the truth, because that's what I want to live in for my life, the rest of my life. And I do believe as you get older, you start to, if you want this, you start to become more authentic and more grounded in who you really are. I think that's one of the great, great advantages of growing older. And if you look young, that's great too. I hope that's me. But we shouldn't cling on to these things. We should appreciate them if that's what we have, but don't cling to it. It's something that we've all got to lose. If you need to cling on to anything, cling on to wisdom and truth. Those are the things that will best serve you in life, and all the good things like love and compassion and all that. But just be aware of any, I suppose, attachments. I'm getting very Buddhist now, because I was a very much practicing Buddhist for at least 10 years. And we learned a lot about attachment and aversion. And I suppose neutrality too. And it's not about not being passionate or expressing your feelings, as I once thought it was, and I was in this kind of almost robotic state, feeling that that was a good thing, that I wasn't attached to anything, because aversion is really attachment as well. Yeah, it's just about being free inside, I think. You enjoy things the most when you feel free inside. It's really like true appreciation of that thing as it is, without trying to hang on to it, because it gives you a good feeling. I really recommend Buddhism, and even if you don't want to become a Buddhist, that's fine, but just reading some of the key ideas really link into well, the things I read from Neville Goddard and Christianity, because obviously he's taking all his ideas from the Bible. It's all based on the Bible, particularly believe that you receive and you shall have it. That's the key idea about faith. You have to believe that you have something before you actually physically have it. Just believe you have it from the invisible. And that's how it manifests. And so people who follow Neville Goddard are that is Christianity, you know, that is a key tenet of Christianity. But a lot of people get bogged down in things that they disagree with, and so they reject the whole thing. Don't reject the whole thing. You know, take the things that are true and wise and use it to have a better life. That's what I say anyway. So yeah, appreciate things in a free way, letting them be free. And you are definitely onto a losing streak, if you try and hang on to things. If you try and own something, then you're going to suffer anxiety at the thought of losing it. And you could have more joy from the thing if you appreciated it as it was. Everything is temporary in life. And enjoy it knowing it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. You're having the pleasure of its, of an experience, of somebody's company, of something, but it's not forever. And I think we do appreciate people and things much more if we remember that. But how often do we do that? It's a constant reminder is needed, particularly with people we love, ironically. I need constant reminders. And I think it's good that we talk about our feelings sometimes, even though many people don't like to go there. They like to talk about more mundane subjects, and that's okay. We can't talk deep all the time, but just sometimes it's good. I have gone off on a tangent for over 10 minutes, and I haven't even talked about the first line. So that's just a little taster of how this clip is going to be. So, you know, totally get it if you want to turn off now, but thanks for staying, people who do. So I was saying before I got a bit distracted that we need to know what our delusions are. And I am particularly interested in what my chief delusion is. And as I've said before, when Neville Goddard says man's, he means humankind. So it's women as well. I will repeat it again. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. This is saying that there is only one cause to everything you experience in your life. What is that? It is your own state of consciousness. Nothing else. I'm not even going to read the rest of this chapter. That is enough for this clip. That is pretty deep. What can I say about that? We are all guilty of this sometimes, most of the time. Some of us may have trained themselves over years to recognize it when it happens and remember everything is coming from us instead of blaming somebody, because that's what it comes down to. If you believe there are causes, plural, instead of one cause, which is everything coming from your own state of consciousness, then you are deluded. You are deluded in the world. And as soon as somebody blames somebody for something that's happened to them, it's like they're saying, I believe in causes. And we all do it, you know, especially at work. Somebody does something unfair, and then we want to speak to somebody about it to get it off our chest because we're feeling pissed off, basically. And when I do it, there is a moment of relief when the person is agreeing with you, but straight afterwards, I feel, but it's not really right, is it? You know, it helps me in that it diffuses any anger I feel towards the person I'm complaining about, and then I change how I think about it. But then more and more I'm thinking, why do I even have to go there? And I don't think I do if I remind myself every day that it's all coming from me. It's not going to help me if I start to complain or moan or think, if only this had happened, then it would be better because I know what's good for me. No, I don't. I don't know what's good for me. I think that would be a good thing to say every day. I don't know what's good for me. I mean, it sounds like you could go totally on the wrong track there. you need to have a guide. Obviously, you go by your common sense and intuition, but with regards to what appears in your world as objective reality, it would be good to have that in the background, that you don't actually know what's good for you, really 100%. You don't know spiritually. You think that this would be the best scenario, but you don't know, because you don't know what's good for you. But God is manifesting everything that appears in your world behind the scenes, behind how it appears, because we don't see that. We live in this world of shadows where everything dies, everything disintegrates or decays. And yeah, it's like the only life is the life that lives within us, which is God, our own consciousness. And that is eternal. And if we really contemplate that, we will have no fear, no real fear, because we can't die. It's just our bodies that we slip off, and then we're somewhere else. And that's the great mystery. Where are we? I know what Neville Goddard says, and I know what the Christian faith says. But really, it's such a great mystery, isn't it? I believe them both, that we continue to exist. But where we actually go, what it looks like, how we experience it, we can only know when we're actually there. So people can, consider it and think, I think it's like that, but nobody really knows. But do we need to, I don't think we need to. Just rest in the assurance that we're okay. We're going to make it, people. We're going to make it. And when you do consider the bigger things of life and beyond this life, you realize that it's not worth getting really worked up about anything, actually. Even the idea of not achieving your dreams. If that's the worst thing that happens, you don't achieve your potential. Yeah, it's a bummer, isn't it? But as long as you learn from life and you try, it's not really awful. What's awful, I think, if you don't try and you regret it, that would be bad. So just try and believe that you've already done it. That's the main thing. That comes before trying, actually. And that's a difficult one, because we all feel that we should be doing stuff to achieve what we want to achieve. And you see, I want to say now, and we should, I don't know. This philosophy, it's not a philosophy, it's Neville Goddard's experience, but these ideas of his imply that it's all coming from the imagination. So actually, once you start thinking that you need to be doing things, you are relying on, well, objective reality, other causes. You need to believe fully that it's all coming from your imagination, which is God. And if you get that right, yes, things will appear in this world that lead you to what you want, and you will do things, but the doing has to come from the imagining. And so it feels like a natural progression for me. Almost involuntary. If the imagined act is right, it will burst forth. So get that right and live in it. Walk in the feeling that you have got what you want. What does that feel like? It feels good, doesn't it? It feels bloody good because you're there. There's nothing more to do. And if you've got there, and you have got there, then you know that anything is possible. And you cracked it then. You cracked it. That's what, maybe we've got to imagine that. I've cracked it. I am manifesting as a way of life. As a way of life. I am accessing the power within me as a way of life. And when I try and imagine what that feels like, really relaxing into that joyful energy and letting it do its job, not forcing anything, just really enjoying and appreciating that joyful energy that I am resting in within me, that is doing all the work. That's what it feels like. That's what I'm tapping into right now. That's the assumption of the wish fulfilled. Relaxed energy. And if you can live in that and just tell yourself that you are what you want to be, you've done it. You've done it. I mean, every day is a great day. Every day is a happy day. And does it even matter that objective reality is not showing you what you are believing to be true? Because you feel great, you're happy, happier than lots of people who have everything they need. You don't care anymore because you just feel great. And then it comes anyway. It comes anyway. So it's almost like there's no change. You're going from the feeling that you have it, but you actually don't have it, as in you can't see it. You do have it, you just can't see it yet. And then you pass over to having it where you can see it. But if you're really good at it, the feeling should be the same, or it should at least start to become the same as you keep having continuous success. No difference in the feelings, so your happiness is assured. The difference comes in the accuracy of feeling the wish fulfilled. Therefore, it changes the physical, it changes the material in the world. The material bends to your joyful feeling that you have everything you want. That feeling is controlling everything. So I believe what Neville Goddard says, that we forget so quickly, and it's part of being a human being, and I do. I can really delve into these concepts and imagine, just imagine what he meant and go deeper every time and really be fed by them. You know, my soul is really fed by his words. I love it. Yeah, it's definitely food for the soul. But then passing from the understanding to the practical application, it's not continuous, especially where feelings are involved. Feelings seem to dislodge us sometimes. from staying in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I mean, other feelings, as in maybe what we could call negative feelings, because they distract us. They're so powerful. It's very powerful energy. And we need to use those feelings to remind us to stay in the joyful feeling of the wish fulfilled. Get back in there. Because it's a training. It's a training for it to be natural. And all of us all of us need help with the training. I don't care what anyone says. No one is there 100%. We all need help. And I think what I should do to remind myself is what I used to do. Stick up messages on my bedroom wall and change them maybe every week or every 2 weeks, because I start to not read them when they've been up for a while. And just remind myself of starting the day with, doing what I should be doing. And I've been a bit slack recently, but imagining the person I would be if my dreams had come true. Imagining the scene that implies they have, as Neville Goddard said we should. And then living in the new concept of the person I would be if that had happened. What kind of person would I be? How would I feel as that person? And that's the most important thing. So imagine the scene, but the most important thing is the concept, the new concept of yourself. Who are you? Who are you when you've actually fulfilled your dream? What does that look like? And more importantly, what does it feel like? And you dwell in that feeling from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, till you're just going off to sleep, and you take it into your dreams and you live like that every day until you are that person. You become that person, and then you bring the experiences into your world that go with the state. And this is another thing I was thinking of when I read the first line of this chapter, which I will read again for the third time. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. So there are no causes other than your own state of consciousness. Everything that you experience in your world comes from you, or more accurately, from your consciousness, your imagination, from God who lives within you. So that is you. So it's coming from you. Now, does that mean that when bad things happen to us, we imagine that and we brought it to ourselves? Because sometimes we can think, I know I never imagined that. I never imagined that. And I have considered this before. How could that have appeared in my world when I didn't imagine it? And I thought, well, I've imagined other things. Maybe it's like the butterfly effect, and that's bringing other things into being. So I did cause it by imagining something else way back, but I didn't actually imagine that thing to happen. And that could be. But when I read this statement, it's saying that everything comes from our state of being, our state of consciousness. So perhaps it's not all about the imaginal acts or imagining things. It's about our concept and how we see ourselves to be. And so the energy we are giving off as that state, as that person with all these beliefs, ideas and feelings, that brings certain circumstances to us, to our lives, certain situations that we haven't imagined, but they are consistent with how we see ourselves or the state of consciousness we're dwelling in. That's what that says to me, that statement. And that in turn says to me that it's so important, the state that we are living in. It's so important how we see ourselves, our concept of self, because everything comes from that. So we have to see ourselves as a success story. We are successful. And we are, because we have got this far. And we have understood on a deeper level that this is how things appear in our world. It's from the inside, not from the outside. And as long as you think that things are coming at you from the outside, you are going to be at the mercy of external forces. And that's going to generate fear because you feel you can't control certain things. At this stage, maybe that's true anyway, but we can do a lot better than we're doing if we are living in the state of the wish fulfilled. If we are happy every day, living in the bubbly energy, the bubbling, joyful, relaxed energy, which makes things happen. So, yeah, do whatever you can to live in that energy, because that will serve you better than anything else can. And yeah, don't be deluded, people. Don't be deluded. And it's not that I think I'm never going to complain or blame ever again. I'm sure I will. But we all will at some point when something really bothers us. The main thing to do is recognize it and then click back into what you really believe as soon as possible. It almost got me there. Why is that person behaving like that towards me? What am I imagining? What am I seeing myself as? That insecurity is playing out. So how do I need to change things? You know what I mean, like that. So I hope that was helpful in some way, because I've gone up to 33 minutes and I still feel like talking. So I might do another one if people want me to keep going on. Yeah, I really like talking about that statement, and I think if we contemplate that often, it's really going to help us. It's getting a bit dark outside now, so I will stop. Thank you for listening, especially if you've got this far, and please let me know how you're getting on. And if you liked the clip, please like. I always appreciate it when people do. And I really look forward to your comments. So take care, people, and all the best with manifesting. Bye.